Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug Show. My name's Doug Cunnington, and in this episode, I'm going to actually talk about myself for, 10 minutes or so. This is one of those little bonus episodes, and I'm also publishing this on YouTube. I've been trying to actually publish these episodes on YouTube as well, and I think it's fine, give the audience over there a taste of what we usually do on the audio side. And like I said, this is a bonus episode. So typically I'm publishing 2 episodes per week, Monday and Thursday. And holy shit, I have not missed an episode in, how many years have I been doing this? So 2019, 2020, 2021. So almost 4 years I haven't missed an episode. I am on episode almost 400 at this point. And technically I've actually recorded additional episodes. So I think it's more, I'm already over 400, but I just haven't numbered them as such. Today, I am going to talk about myself. A lot of times these are just little tiny updates, and I try to keep it tight, and I try not to ramble on too much. So there's no real point here. I'm just going to tell some stories about what's been going on the last little bit. So I just got back from Fincon a couple days ago, and Fincon, if you're unfamiliar, is a financial creators conference. It used to be called the Financial Bloggers Conference, but now it spans to, all social media, YouTubers, other video creators, course creators, podcasters, bloggers, and all sorts of things like that. Georgie is alerting me that there might be someone walking by out front. So that's my barking dog, Georgie. So anyway, I got back from Fincon. It was fantastic. It's the second one that I've been to. And in 2021, last fall, in Austin, it was a blast. I had a great time. That was the first FinCon after any of the COVID things were going on. And it was smaller. It was much smaller than normal. So word on the street is in 2019, it was something like 3,000 or 4,000 people in DC. Just huge conference. And COVID changed things a little bit. So there weren't as many people live in Austin. There were, several hundred. It felt like enough people to me. And there were, more people than I could possibly talk to. It was a little funny though, not funny, but you walk into the big auditorium where the keynotes are supposed to be, and they have, seats for 1,200 people. And there's only, 600 pushed up towards the front, and it felt extremely empty. Again, I had a great time. I didn't know the difference because I'd never been to one before, and made a lot of friends, met a lot of people in person that I knew online. And it was just really cool. It was, the kind of people that I want to hang out with. And I will say there's enough people there that, there's little pockets, not cliques in a negative way, but there are groups of people that, they all know each other and they kind of hang out. And there's another group that, they're interested in something else. So there's a wide range, but I was, luckily taken under the wing of my podcast co-host, Carl Jensen. And, he introduced me to a ton of people, and that really sort of greased the wheels so I didn't have to go in cold. I did meet a few people from the Doug.Show audience in the affiliate marketing world as well. I think Jordan, I forget his last name, and Larry Ludwig, I think is how you say his last name. So I met him as well. And actually I bumped into both of those guys in Orlando. So that's where it was this time, very close to Disney, which I'm not a huge fan, which is putting it extremely lightly. I would actively try not to go to Disney. If someone was like, here's free tickets to go to Disney or Universal or any kind of other shit in the same genre, I would likely turn it down. So I'm not too interested. You can convince me otherwise, maybe, but just in general, I'm like, I don't know if I'm into it. Especially the Disney part. I largely don't give a shit. I mean, it's great. If you do, I don't judge. It's absolutely awesome. Do the things that you enjoy. For me, not so much. I did go a day early to spend some time with my aunt. She lives up in the Villages, which is like a senior living community, except it's like a huge town. It's like 100,000 old people all hanging out. Very cool. I would live there myself, potentially, except it's in Florida and everything. But otherwise, it's fantastic. There's a lot of cool activities. I go to bed early. So if I can go to a concert, which this, we literally did this another time that I visited her. We went to a concert / like variety show kind of situation at 4:00. It was 4 to 5:30, and then we ate dinner and we were back home ready for bed at 6:45. It's fucking beautiful. So anyway, kind of fits my lifestyle and it was fine. Totally cool. Overall, Fincon is fantastic. 99% sure I'm going to go next year in New Orleans. One of my big complaints in the last 2 years, the two that I have attended, they were in southern cities, which is fine. I'm from the South, but they were also in September. So it was hot. It was extremely hot. In Austin, the couple days that I had free, it was like 100 fucking degrees. So I'm like walking around downtown Austin, just sweating my balls off. I mean, it was insane. It's so hot in Austin. Great city, not in the summer though, or in the late summer, early fall, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it was just too much for me, and I don't enjoy that. I don't like hot weather. I lived in Bozeman, Montana, where it's very cold for a lot of the year, and I thought it was wonderful. Everyone's different. And I grew up in a hot, humid area in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So Orlando actually felt a lot like that with afternoon thunderstorms and stuff like that. So I'll come back to that in a second. This time in New Orleans in 2023, where Fincon is going to be, it's later in the year. And I'm like, oh, it must have just been a scheduling situation. And, the organizers know that it's really hot and it's actually not that pleasant to go to Austin, Texas in early September or Orlando almost at any time. I'm just picking on the people in Orlando, but it's almost, it's much better to go like later in the year. I'd love to go to Orlando in the winter when it's really cold here in Colorado, go down south, travel with the seasons. That makes sense to me. So looking forward to New Orleans. It's going to be late October. Should be cool. I mean, people party really hard, and that is one thing I did partake in. So I drank quite a bit too much, and I stayed up too late. Good news, though, I made it out without catching COVID. Took a test, and that was the thing that I took home from Austin. Unfortunately, I got COVID, and a couple of my buddies did too. And, it's not enough rest, and then we're around a bunch of people, but I was around even more people this year, and I really tried to focus on getting enough rest, which I largely failed at, but I did take a couple days off, and I was like, I'm not going out. I'm bailing. I'm just going to bed. And I think that will be my move in the future. I hate to miss out on fun, but I am maturing slightly. So I'm getting a little bit more grown up about the whole thing, where I could just say, you know what? Nothing really cool is going to happen around here. We've all just been drinking for a few hours. Pretty sure that's all we're going to be doing for the next few hours. So maybe I just go to bed, bow out, get some rest, and then come back fresh the next day. My buddy Carl, one day, he was like, yeah, I may come back down. He didn't come back down. He told me the next day that he went to bed at like 9. And that he feels wonderful, and he woke up at like 6 and he feels rejuvenated and refreshed. And he was so glad that he went to bed at 9, and I was very jealous. That very night, I actually went to bed at like 3:30. It was a mistake, but fun. I got to hang out and catch up with a couple good friends. Okay, couple other notes from the trip. So I love food shows. And I used to watch the Food Network back in the day, like way back in college years. So I would watch the Food Network. I would watch a bunch of different shows. I like cooking. I grew up cooking and, just highly interested in, different cuisines, different ways to cook, the nerdy aspect of cooking. And on the plane and at the hotel in both situations, I was just like watching like the Food Network or other cooking shows. One of my favorites, which there was like a little, marathon during the day. I think we don't have cable, so I'm pretty sure this is fairly typical these days, where they'll play the same show on, say, like the cooking channel for 3 hours in the middle of the day. And there's a show called Good Eats with Alton Brown. And that's one of my favorites that I watched from way back in the day. I think, from when it started, basically. I kind of remember watching in the, I want to say like 99, early 2000s, something like that. He's from the Atlanta area, which is kind of cool. So when he was shooting the show, you would see he was at, Harry's Farmer's Market in Marietta, or like the Whole Foods in Midtown, places I had actually been to, which is kind of cool. I mean, it means nothing, but I'm like, oh man, he's in the area. So pretty cool show. And, he's kind of witty and quirky and nerdy about the whole cooking situation. So that was fun. Watched several episodes on the plane. And then another one that I got into a little bit later, I would say, 2007, 2008, something like that, is a Barbecue Pit Masters. So it's a barbecue competition, like cooking show. And that was on at the hotel. I think it was on a station called like Destination America or something. So I like flipped it over to that channel in the morning. I didn't watch too much. I just turned it on as I was like, getting ready or something like that. And I think like several hours later, it could have even been like 12 hours later, I flipped the TV back on, still showing a marathon of Barbecue Pit Masters. And that's where I first was introduced to Aaron Franklin, who, full circle, has, a very popular barbecue restaurant in Austin, Texas, which I went to. So another cool thing with the hotel is they had several pools. So they had like 3 pools. This is a Marriott Orlando World Center Marriott is what it's called. And it's huge, over 2,000 rooms, very nice, huge convention center, so much space. The Fincon attendee list was around, I think, 16 or 1,800, which was pretty big, much bigger than last year for sure. There was another conference, funny enough, it was a travel MLM, multi-level marketing, which a lot of people kind of equate that to a pyramid scheme, although it may not be, technically that, but it's an MLM. So basically that other conference was going on at the same time, and it had like 4,000 people. It was insane because we have all these financially minded people. Most of my friends are retired and were financially independent. And then there's this other group of, unfortunately it was sort of a predatory situation, or at least a lot of MLMs seem that way. And very, very different focus in the groups. So anyway, this hotel had like 3 pools, tons of space, and it has a water park, in air quotes. There was a lazy river, which was pretty cool. I think you could go around it in like, 3 minutes. It was fairly small, but there were 3 water slides, and you had to have like a wristband. So it was legit. And the water slides were pretty fun. Now, the tragic thing was, in Florida, in the South, a lot of places have afternoon thunderstorms. So oftentimes my mornings were kind of filled. I recorded a couple podcasts. I recorded a few shows for the Doug.Show, and I recorded a few for Mile High Fi, my personal finance show. And I would eat lunch and I would think, all right, I'm going to head down to the water park. So I'd put on my trunks and I'd have my towel, and I'm walking down, and I would, smell the chlorine. I would just anticipate getting in the water, feeling the cool water, riding down the slide and like going down the tubes and all that stuff, just really excited. And then it would start raining. Not just rain, my friends, thunder. Crazy thunder. There were bolts, popping down. It was so close. These lightning bolts were like on top of us. Every day that I was there was a violent thunderstorm. So for the first 3 days that I tried to go to the water park, I was literally on my way to the water park when the lightning storm kicked in. So it was a sad situation. Fortunately, funny enough, I was trying to get like a group of people to come down at various times, but people were busy. The thing was, Carl and I were like finishing recording, and I was like, hey man, let's just go to the water park right now. I know no one else can go, but just me and you, buddy, let's head down to the water park and ride down some slides together, which we did. He was like, sure, I'm in. Let's do it. We snuck a couple beers in. It was good. Kids don't drink, all that stuff. But the other funny part is, he likes water slides too. There was one of the slides where you had to ride with two people because you had like a double tandem tube situation. And for whatever reason, you had to ride with two. The funny part is we thought that you had to ride with two on a couple of the other slides too. Turns out you didn't. You didn't have to ride with someone else. You could, and that's what we did. So we rode down together on another slide, two grown-ass men riding down on the slide together. We didn't have any other family there. His kids weren't there. His wife wasn't there, nor was mine. So yeah, kind of funny. Just a couple bros riding down on a tube together, even though they don't have to. So that was pretty funny. Unfortunately, we didn't get any pictures of it or video or anything like that, which would have been absolutely hilarious. And yeah, I think that concludes everything. I didn't get COVID. I had a fun time. There were water slides. I got to hang out with some family for a brief time. And I just remembered how much I like those cooking shows. I can watch that stuff all day long. Pretty funny. And I think I'm going to end it here so I don't go on for too long. If you dig these kind of, little updates, these little mini updates, shoot me an email, feedback@Doug.Show. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you, of course, can leave a comment, and that's great. If you're brand new here and this happened to be the first thing that you watched, that's odd. This will seem out of place, but I encourage you to check out some of the other videos and stuff. I do live streams all the time on YouTube and encourage you to check it out. If you want to help me out, you can leave a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, wherever you can leave a review. It helps out, but Apple is kind of the big one. That's where most people listen. So if you can leave a review, it's great. It'd be cool if you gave a good review, but I encourage you to be honest. That's the best policy after all. So that's it for today. We'll catch you on the next episode. And we got some cool ones. We got some coming up that I actually did record over in Orlando at Fincon. So talk to you later.